Afternoon, guys. Steve Johnson, Wise Realtor Group. I wanted to talk specifically to you folks that are renting today. If you're out there, you're renting an apartment complex or a home, or you're buying a mobile home, I need to help you. And the way that I want to help you is I want to talk to you a little bit about how money is made in America. Money is made in America through property. The sooner you understand that, the better off you'll be. You need to be owning your home, not renting. I know there's all that stuff out there that, oh boy, I can rent, there's no bills for maintenance, nothing like that. Well, I remember living in an apartment. What I remember about that is my air conditioner broke down. So I had to wait a week for maintenance to get there and finally get it fixed. My dishwasher went out. They came over and fixed it, went out the next day. Came over and fixed it, went out the next day. Why? Because it was the cheapest piece of crap they could possibly find to put in an apartment complex. I had an upstairs neighbor, played with his kids all night long, or his dog, or whatever it was, but all I heard was bumpity thumpity bumpity thumpity all the time from that guy. My next door neighbor come home from work every single day and turned his stereo up as loud as he possibly could to relax. Yeah, all I heard was thumping bass through the walls. Couldn't tell what he was playing, but I sure did get to enjoy a whole lot of bass. These are the problems just any apartment complex has. And when you are out there and you rent a home, it's exactly the same thing. They're not putting good quality stuff in your house. They put the cheapest crap they can possibly get away with, and it breaks down continually. And the toilet stuff up, and this happens and that happens. And what do they always say? Hey, go ahead and pay for it yourself and then just take it off the rent. Go ahead, we'll have somebody out there in about a week to take care of that for you. It's never happening fast, and if you take care of it, you got to pony up the money out of pocket. Who wants to do that on somebody else's property? The other thing is, you're paying $1,000 a month. Think about that. That's $12,000 or so per year. You got a roommate, $500 a month because you're splitting it with him and having to put up with him or her. And it's the same thing. You're still spending $6,000 a year to live in someone else's property. And at the end of that time, tell me what you have. Do you have any more money? You live in paycheck to paycheck. You couldn't put any money in a savings account. So, what do you got left over? Zero. You didn't make any money whatsoever. The thing about owning a home is it's an investment. There's no more real estate out there, guys. Every year, property goes up in value. And yeah, if you overpaid in that year, the market was bad, and but that's not really true, because in the long run, over 4 or 5 years, property always goes up. And why? Because your dollar is losing money every year. There's about a 3.5 depreciation in your ability to buy stuff. So let's say I buy something for $1 today. A year from now, if I could sell it, I'd probably get $1.10, something like that. And that's not because it went up in value at all. It's because my money depreciated. I lost value. So let's say I take $6,000. Well, here, let me give you an example. One of the companies I work with offered a 401k to me. So I thought, that's a good deal. I can put money in a 401k, and every time I put money in it, they're going to match me 50 cents on the dollar for everything I put in there. Sounded like a great deal to me. So I started putting money in there. Then I started looking at the interest rate, and I was getting pretty much bank interest rate. That meant 3.5%. That meant I was getting nothing, because my dollar was losing that much every single year. And I know that in an investment, to be any good at all, it's got to make 7 to 8%. So I start kicking around looking at it, and basically my 401k says, hey, we've got some investing options. You can get into the stock market, and instead of just getting bank interest, we'll pay you 7.5%, 8% by the time everything clears on what they call a mid-range investment. And that means you're only taking a medium risk. You still could lose, but you probably won't. The bank interest rate means you won't lose anything. You just don't gain anything either. Then, of course, they have that high one. High risk guarantees you 12% interest unless you lose all your money. So I keep it in there for about 5 years, and just on the amount of money that I put in there, you know, I put in about $8,000 or $9,000, something like that. And by the time it all came around, I had $13,500 in there. So, well, that's not too bad. At least I have $13,500. So I'm thinking, well, I did okay. And then I realized I can't get my money out until I'm 65, or I have to pay taxes on it, and I lose that. The company that I was working for decided to quit matching funds, so there really was no need to put any more money in this account. So now it just sat there, and I thought, well, I'll play this stock market deal. So I sign up to get 8% interest, and I begin, you know, I don't know a lot about the stock market, so obviously I didn't do real well, because I look at it this year, and lo and behold, I got $10,000 in there. So I lost $4,500, which would be pretty much the exact same amount of money, maybe a little bit more, if I'd have just gone and put it in a savings account. And I'd have access to it today and could pull it out instead of needing to wait here another couple of years. So it's quite obviously that savings, stock markets, things like this are not a good way to make money. It just doesn't do enough for you. Now, the same time, 5 years ago, I decided to buy this property, the one that I'm standing on. I paid $120,000 for it, and I did like most folks. I went and got on city tax, and it said it was only worth $75,000. I talked to the owner of the property, and they said, no way we're selling it for that. We want $120,000. I get up on Zillow. Zillow said, oh, the most it's worth is $114,000. And I talked to them about that, and they said, nope, we want $120,000. We don't care what Zillow says. So I finally went ahead and purchased it for $120,000. Thank God I did, because I'll tell you what happened in the last 5 years. I can get on tax today, and tax says this little piece of property that I bought 5 years ago is now worth $250,000. Now, I can tell you something about tax. Just like it was low the first time I looked at it, it's low right now. I guarantee I get on Zillow, this property will be $280,000. Now, I probably won't be able to sell it for that price, but I guarantee I could get $250,000 for it. If I got $250,000 for it and I only put $120,000 in it, I've made 100% gain on my money now. And I have $140,000 or so to prove that. Because also during that time, I made payments on this property, and I knocked down the original note that I had on this property. And so as a result, I'm $150,000 better off today than I was just 5 years ago. And I didn't do anything. And it's way better than my 401k. In fact, I wish I'd have taken that 401k and made a capital payment in and paid some of my principal off, because then I'd have even more money in this property. And yeah, I'm not going to sell it and get rid of it right now, unless I just feel like it, because nothing's stopping me from doing that. And I guarantee you, with $140,000, I can buy another property probably just like this, or not better. So I'm in good shape financially all the way around, because I made one correct decision out of the two I could have made. One being I put it in my 401k and tried to save and do the stock market, and the other I put it in property. Put your money in property, my friends. Make sure that you own something, because it's the same thing. Let's take you as a renter. You pay $1,000 a month in rent. Well, at the end of the year, you pay $12,000. You're a homeowner. You pay $1,000 a month in your home ownership, and by the end of the year, well, you've beat down the principal a little bit, not a lot, but what's helped you is the fact that your property went up in value based on the fact that money and purchasing power lost, and also the fact that there's just no more property out there, guys, and people want to buy it, they're going to have to pay you more. And you could probably say to yourself, I bet I made 10 grand just by doing that. There's no other investment that will ever do that for you. You get tax savings. You get ownership privileges. You can do what you want. You can control who comes onto your property. You don't have noisy neighbors upstairs unless you put them up there. I have a 2-story house, that's why I say that. So, all around, the best decision you can make is get yourself in the house. The only question is, how do you do that? Well, there's a program out here called NACA. I like this program because it's guaranteed through Citibank and Bank of America. That's who is going to provide the funds for you to borrow from. When you go through NACA, they're going to put you through a program to make sure that you can pay. That means they're going to take a look at what you've been paying in rent and go, okay, we know you can pay $1,000 a month. And if you want to buy more house than that, we'd like to make sure that you can do that as well. So they're going to put you with someone to help make sure that you budget for the payment that you're going to get. And then they're going to allow you to take the extra money beyond what you were paying in rent and start putting it in a savings account to save for a down payment. And here's where the cool things start happening. Once I've saved up enough money, I can take all of that money, instead of using it as a down payment, NACA is going to pay the down payment for me on the house, no matter what it is, which is about 3.5% at this point in time. Then NACA is going to do another cool thing. They already have the lowest interest rate in America. But they're going to say to you, you know that money that you saved up? If you'd like, you don't have to, you can keep it in your savings account if you want. But if you'd like to, you can take all of that money and you can start buying down your interest rate. And you can buy your interest rate all the way down to 1%. So now you've got a 1% interest loan. They've paid your down payment, and all you're doing is making a house payment. Now you're a homeowner, and you're going to have advantages of the fact that you get the tax write-offs, and your house is going up, 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 up in value. And whenever you sell, you'll be able to buy another better house. It makes sense, my friends. If it makes sense to you, you give me a call. I'll get you set up in the program, and I want you to understand, I have nothing to do with NACA other than I really like their mortgage program. I'm a realtor. I represent buyers. I don't represent home sellers. I work strictly for buyers, and I try to find the best programs for them to get themselves into a house and to pay it off. And that program, my friends, is NACA. So you call me. I'll get you set up in the program. I'll walk you through everything. And if you hate me for some reason, and some people do, although I'm a really likable guy, I'll tell you right now what I'll do for you. You just use some other realtor. But you buy yourself a house through NACA. You'll thank me in the long run, and you'll be glad you listened to this. Y'all take care, guys. God bless you. Bye-bye.